Pokemon Go is gonna die. The monetization is gonna be too aggressive. I'm gonna have to pay $2 for a shiny. Pokemon Go is dead anyway, so what's the point? Stop. You guys need to understand what's really going on here. Niantic has just sold Pokemon Go for about $3.85 billion to Scopely. Let's start off with what Scopely is. Scopely is an American-based company which is currently the #1. It takes the title as the #1 best mobile game in the States right now, or maybe even in the world. I think in 2024 alone, as you can see on the cutout right here, Pokemon Go had over 100 million plus unique players, which tells you Pokemon Go is not dead, guys. It's very important to understand what's really going on here. If you look at Scopely, remember Scopely is an American-based company, but Scopely is headed by Savvy Games, which is a Saudi Arabian-based company which really focuses around esports. And I can see there's a lot of confusion around this. What you guys really need to understand is that Pokemon Go is not selling Pokemon Go. Niantic is selling Pokemon Go, but Pokemon is not going to be affected because Pokemon Go is overall tied because of the IP to the Pokemon company. So guys, do you really think that Pokemon is going to allow... So for example, a lot of people are using Monopoly Go as an example because Scopely runs Monopoly Go. But guys, Monopoly Go is a totally different game. And if you look at a few screenshots right here, you can see that people are really pointing out the aggressive microtransaction rate, if you like, to spend little transactions in the game to really improve your gameplay. But more than that, it's the ads on this game, which people are very concerned about. Guys, I got news for you. Pokemon Go already is a hugely based microtransaction game, and to be honest, in the last 6 to 8 months, it's been highly aggressive. Every single event we've had recently, a ticket, $2 ticket, $8 ticket for the Cub Fu. Think about it, the community day tickets have now doubled in price. They're now $2, where 18 months ago they were $1. Guys, Pokemon Go itself is pretty aggressive on monetization. If you go to the shop, yes, it's more affordable because if you want to buy 100 Pokecoins, you could maybe spend only $1. So that seems affordable to people. But what I'm saying is, if you guys want to succeed in this game, you have to spend money. What people need to understand is that Pokemon Go, it's been aggressive in recent times. So what does this mean for Pokemon Go? I want to touch on something that my boy Zionic actually touched on because this is something I thought of myself. If you guys paid attention to the Pokemon Presents, which just happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they introduced the game, which is going to be called Pokemon Champions. I think the best way to explain this is, for so long, a lot of Pokemon players, it's kind of like there's a huge player base that play Pokemon Go on mobile because it's more accessible. But if you want to play it on VGC, it costs more money. If you want to play other forms of it, like the trading card game, you have to spend money on cards and get involved in that community. What I'm saying is Pokemon Go is the most accessible game. But what they're doing with Pokemon Champions is that they are going to move everything competitive from, if you like, the main series games into that game. That is my theory. And effectively, Pokemon Champions is going to kind of be the umbrella for competitive Pokemon for everything. And if you look at the events, the in-person events, guys, this last World Championships was I think it was the highest attended World Championships Pokemon has ever had. I think there were over 5,500 people that applied across all of the platforms. According to my boy Wolfie, love this YouTuber, such good content. I think he was saying like 8 years ago, there were maybe, or maybe it's a little bit more than that, there were like maybe 100 to 200 people that applied, but as time has gone on, a lot more people are getting into competitive play because esports is going to come into play. My theory, and I really side with Zionic here, is that I really think they are going to push these in-person events from a competitive point of view so that it can be more accessible, because they clearly, in every single Pokemon game, they're trying to up the interaction of battling Pokemon and a kind of a community-based event or live event where people can get more involved, whether that's battling, trading, whatever it may be. I think this is where Pokemon is going to go. Pokemon Go is not going to die. It already has stood the test of time with everything that's gone on in the game. And just think about how poor Niantic has been. If you think about the biggest complaints that I think anyone has about Niantic, it's a decently run game. There are bugs here and there that of course could be improved, but for me the biggest thing is the feedback. They do not listen to their player base, and I have a feeling going forward that will improve. Unfortunately though, guys, what's really going on here is that Niantic is selling Pokemon Go, but Niantic's teams are still going to be if you like, developing the game, but the team leaders are now going to be transferred into Scopely. So it's kind of like the teams are going to remain the same, but the leaders of the team taking them in certain directions that they want to go with the game now, that's kind of going to be the setup. So it's impossible for things to just turn on its head or for the game to just die. It's just not gonna happen. All right, so Mikey, we get it. We hear your opinion, but what does this mean for Pokemon Go and what are the changes gonna look like? Guys, nobody knows, but what I can tell you is that if there are any changes, it's probably gonna be minor. But for the next 6 months to a year, I don't see a hell of a lot changing just because it can't. It's not like everything is just going to turn on its head because that would just be far too risky. If anything, I would wait until probably after GoFest, which is, I think, what is it, in June? That is when it's probably going to be the first marker of where we might see some change. But guys, have faith. This game is definitely not going to die. And look, it could. Look, it may sound... It may sound like, you know, some people are being negative or even, you know, some people might be looking at the bright side. Either way, I think what's important to mention here is that it doesn't matter. It's going to play out the way it's going to play out, and let's just hope. And I have a feeling, I am hopeful that things are going to improve, and who knows, we may have one of the best, if not the best mobile games in the world, because guys, Pokemon is the third highest earning franchise in the world, I think only behind Adidas and Nike, and it's not a sports brand. Guys, this is something that's been living and breathing since like 1996, and Pokemon Go only now is going to take on a shift, and I have a feeling that shift will be positive. So you've got to stay positive. And remember, guys, it's not your game. I think a lot of people, we drive the revenue because we're the player base and we want to partake, but you don't own the game. You can make the decisions for the people. At the end of the day, it's going to play out the way it's going to play out. Another important thing that I completely forgot to mention is the changes. Guys, there have been suggestions from a few people that are closer to Niantic employees that Scopely has already started to make changes in Pokemon Go, and the most recent one happened during this Unova tour, which is going to be that tour pass. Never in Pokemon Go have we ever seen almost like a battle pass system where you have to progress through the ranks to collect rewards, and the fact that it happened in such a limited time, that is a perfect example of what might be coming to Pokemon Go, and that's just a little teaser. But I think it's important to mention that because, again, there have been strong suggestions that there are changes already starting to happen, and I think that is a very key example of one of them. That is going to be it. Go with us. Remember, we've just broken down that Dynamax Raikou weekend with a counter guide and everything you might need to know for this weekend to really help you guys maximize. Check that out up here. Otherwise, that's going to be us. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen with this game, with this huge sale of $3.85 billion? Let us know.